It is I, Noah, and I will be telling you all about my day. Let's start with the weight, even though this is day number 2 of my abandoning of the diet for only 3 days. I was 150.5. That is only about a pound jump up from yesterday. Not bad if I do say so myself. Well, now that we've gotten that squared away, what else can I tell you? Yes, I know. How about tell you about the time that I woke up at 11? I stayed in bed for quite a long time. When I got up, I decided to go on my TV and watch an episode of The Smiling Friends. This episode was episode 2 of season 2. If I'm trying to remember correctly, this is very difficult. I don't know why, but my mind is not remembering right now. It could be because it is 4:08 in the morning. Well, anyways, let's move on, shall we? I saved a chocolate wafer in the fridge, and I took that out and I ate it while watching The Smiling Friends. It was a lot of fun, especially the fact that I had a cup of coffee to dip my wafer into. Yum, yum. Afterwards, I decided it would be a good idea to get ready for work. Once I was dressed, I left. When I got there, I punched in, and what I did after, one could only describe as pushing carts back into the corral. Well, handing carts to the customers, it was quite an experience. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Then afterwards, I remember I bagged for 3 hours. I did take a break in the second hour, and when I got up for that first break, not second break, I had lots of snacks. I had cosmic brownie. I had a bag of Cheez-Its. I had bag of raspberry nuts berry farm cookies. Very tasty indeed. After eating all of that while drinking cans of Diet Coke, I went back downstairs and I continued working for the next 2 hours. Nothing too interesting to report on. Mundane tasks that help a lot of people out, like bagging. It was quite an experience. Then I punched out and I drove home. I was anticipating getting home because I ordered some vitamin B12 tablets for my cat, Avery. I know vitamin B12 improves vitality. However, it must be administered with the proper dose. Otherwise, it will poison them. So I ordered the perfect amount and gave it to my cat. I wasn't sure if he would eat it because he's been finicky about eating as of late. But as soon as he sniffed that tablet, he chomped it up like it was nothing. I was happy to see that because that means that the vitamin B12 will be going into his system and he will hopefully get healthier. Time will be the ultimate judge of that idea, I suppose. Well, anyways, I decided to have 2 pieces of fried chicken that I took from the company potluck yesterday. Reheated them in the air fryer after asking ChatGPT how hot the air fryer has to be. 370 degrees at 8 minutes was the suggested amount. So I did that and I flipped them halfway, but in reality, I flipped them 3 minutes in because I honestly don't know why. But, anyways, I got the chicken when it was done being fried in the air fryer, or I suppose baked, since it's basically a mini convection oven. And I ate the air fried, reheated fried chicken while watching a new video game donkey video about Kirby Air Riders. It was a pretty funny video and a pretty crazy video. It was hard to understand what was going on in the video. All I can tell you was that it was very entertaining. Then, afterwards, I remember I was listening to the new Digital Foundry video about the possibility of pricing the Steam machine, otherwise known by fans as the Gabe Cube. It was a very interesting video, and the three men on the panel basically stated that they believe it would be between the $700 to $800 price range, which honestly seems pretty pricey, not going to lie. Then I drove back home. Sorry, I was already at home. I drove back to work, and when I got to work, the next 4 hours were extremely hectic. So, first hour back was on lot. First hour back was on sweeps. I remember when I went up to the break room, I had a really dumb idea of sweeping table in the break room with the duster, but then a coworker told me that was a bad idea, and then I realized it was when he told me, because I thought actually that is where people eat their food, and I wouldn't want to eat my food somewhere where a duster had been sweeping on it. So I decided to right my wrongs, and I got a chemical spray and a cleaner, and I sprayed the chemical all over the table and wiped that cleaner real good. Finally, when it was all sparkling clean, I punched my sweeps in, and finally I decided to do bagging for the next 2 hours. But then my break came, and so I decided to do a 10-minute long breathwork meditation where I breathe in my nose like this, and then I let it out like this, and then I do that on repeat until eventually I do this, and then I tighten my abs, push my head back, straighten my spine, and tighten my pelvic muscles until I launch into a more relaxed state. And once I've squeezed my entire body and flexed for about 30 to 40 seconds, I release, and then I feel an overwhelming sense of calm and peace. Well, that was the break. The last 2 hours, it was bagging, taking orders out, and finally bringing carts in. Once the carts were in where they needed to go, I decided to punch out and then called my mom about getting turkey gravy mix for the Thanksgiving dinner we will be having very soon. Once I was told about it, I grabbed what she needed, 3 packets. I then asked if my sister got ice cream for a pie we'll be consuming later. She said no, so I decided to get some vanilla, but I didn't know which Tillamook vanilla was the one to get, so I consulted ChatGPT, and it said that the old-fashioned vanilla was the best option. So I grabbed that one, and then I noticed there was a deal, $4 per 12 pack of A&W Zero Sugar Root Beer. So I got that along with a zero sugar Dr. Pepper. I bought it, said goodbye to my coworkers, wished them all a happy Thanksgiving. Then I put my food that I bought into the back of my trunk, brought the cart back into one of the designated cart stations, and I drove back home while listening to song. It went something like this: rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to be, got to follow my rainbow, no need for stopping, got to keep moving on, got no further options, only one thing to do, must keep on moving ahead, no further guessing, follow my plan instead. I know that someday we will make it through, got no further options, only one thing to do. I'm sure some of you guessed this song already, but for those who haven't, I'll leave it up to a YouTube or Google search to find out. Eventually, when I arrived home, I brought all the food back into the house, threw out the trash, put the sodas in the back fridge, then removed a chunk of ice at the bottom of the freezer in the indoor fridge, and then threw the ice sheets up on the grass outside, and then I put the vanilla old-fashioned Tillamook ice cream in the freezer. Afterwards, I decided to play some Pikmin 3 on my Nintendo Switch. I played a whole day and was able to get some juice for the crew in the game. Then afterwards, I decided to play some Pikmin 4. I wanted to see what the visual upheaval looked like between two games, and it was quite a sight to behold. It makes me want to see the game upgraded for the Nintendo Switch 2 with better visuals, because I think that would really help the game's visuals look even more pronounced and jaw-dropping. As it stands now, the art direction is so unique and so endearing that it makes it a feast for the eyes despite the low resolution, especially blown up on a 65-inch OLED TV display. After I was done playing those games, I wanted to watch the upgraded emulated version of the game on YouTube, but then I found a video that was talking about David Grush on the internet, so I wanted to watch that instead. I decided to scoop up some ice cream, old-fashioned vanilla and butter pecan, and I also had a cup of coffee to go along with it, which in hindsight wasn't a good idea because it kept me perked up and wide awake all night. Then, after I was done watching this video, which I thought had a very inspiring ending, I thought it would be a great idea if I could then play Resident Evil 4 VR on my PlayStation VR2 device. It was quite immersive and a little frightening. I will say that when you get into the game, it is a lot of fun, but the visuals are a little let down by the built-in displays of the PSVR 2. It makes me wish that the device used micro OLED displays instead of regular OLED displays, because regular OLED has mirror and makes the games look more blurry and smudgy than they would otherwise. I also wish that instead of Fresnel lenses, they used pancake lenses, because that would give the sweet spot and the god rays of the game a much less of an issue because you would have a wider sweet spot, which would mean you wouldn't have to constantly adjust the headset to get the perfect looking view, and you also wouldn't have to worry about the device having such a smudgy looking display. I tried to make the best of it though, because I had already bought a few VR games that utilized the device that were exclusive to the VR2 device, so that was the reason why I got it in the first place. I even watched some Smiling Friends clips. I'm forgetting what the red guy's name is right now, but I like the sound of his voice. I think it's kind of funny. So I decided I would be portraying this update video in his voice just for the lulz. I feel bad about not remembering his name. Such a shame. But anyways, when I was done watching that, I realized that it was super late in the morning and practically almost morning time. So I decided to start recording my update video. And when I tried, my mom came in from her room and she asked why we were staying up so late. I told her that I just lost track of time and got into my gaming. Then afterwards, I decided I would go into my room and record my update video without any interruptions here. And that is the end of this update video. Overall, I will say that I also did eat some chips that were Doritos, that were cheeseburger, and what was the other thing? Sweet barbecue flavored with some Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Overall, I thought it wasn't the best. I thought the flavor was a bit on the bland side with the chips. They were okay enough to mindlessly consume, I suppose. But honestly, you shouldn't be mindlessly consuming anything. You should always eat mindfully if you don't want to have health issues later in life, is what I believe. The Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar was okay. I find that I like it more when I'm eating it with something with a lot of flavor, because the flavorful thing that I eat it with, for example, a cheeseburger, helps mask the more medicine-y back flavor of the Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this update video. Thank you for tuning in and taking time out of your day to watch me explain how my day went. I very much appreciate it. I will do a bow to show my appreciation. Okay, now I will be going to bed despite all the caffeine in my system. Good night and goodbye. Hold on. I almost spread misinformation, but now the vision is crystal clear. It turns out I did not watch Smiling Friends Episode 2 Season 2. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered what happened. I don't know why I said that. I think I was confusing it with watching clips from the show later in the day. But how would I be able to confuse that? That doesn't make any sense at all. Anyways, let me tell you what I actually watched. It turns out when I was going in my YouTube history, I watched a Ralph the Movie Maker new Shelby Oaks review. This was quite the video indeed. I greatly enjoyed it. It brought a smile to my face, especially the ending, which brought back all of the nostalgia. And then I watched a Digital Foundry video about the new Tomb Raider remaster on the Nintendo Switch 2 system. And that is pretty much all there is to update on. Every other detail in this video is left all right. Okay, now I'm going to go to bed. It is late and my brain needs its rest. Good night and goodbye.